Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation! Good evening and welcome to Computerized Start! I am your host, Justin D. Morgan, and I need to double check my microphone setting. There we go. That's better. Had the wrong microphone set. Alright, I would like to say hello to everyone that is in the chat. Let's see, Thomas Armstrong, greetings. Joe's Computer Museum, greetings. Big Bad Biologist, Big Bad Bench. Is your workbench misbehaving like the name suggests? Dave's Vintage Apple Tech, welcome, and sorry to hear about your cat. Eric Sedge, welcome. Jubsby, welcome. All right. I have hopefully a interesting live stream. We'll get to DOS in a moment. Yes, I have the Pentium II system on my workbench, but I'm going to have to move it off the workbench momentarily because I potentially made more bad decisions on eBay. And what might be in this box? I would have you place your votes in the chat, but I think I spoiled it in the video description. And at least I remembered to cover the addresses on it. All right. I mean, you could probably guess what's in it just because... Why would I open it on a Pentium II stream? Yes, eBay, woohoo! All right, now it's probably evident. I have 3 more Pentium II processors. And 2 free anti-static bags, yay! Hey Jack68K, welcome! Alright, so let's take a look at what these are. I think... Oh, and there is a personalized... Oh, okay, that's cool. I thought the sticker was from the place where this box originally came from, but actually, that would be from the eBay store I bought it from. So, Tater's Treasures. Thank you. I received your handwritten note and your package. It looks like everything arrived as described. Should you happen to run across this video. Hey, K-Mac Vintage. Welcome. Yes, I've got more Pentiums. So, all right. Ooh. So I want to test these first because... Why not? And actually, we're going to see how well I read the blurry part numbers on the eBay listings. And so this one is... Let's see here. This one is a 233 megahertz. I didn't have one of those. It also, I believe, is the one that has ECC cache on it. I'll test this, but this isn't why I bought the auction lot. I'll have a collection of Pentium IIs. Now this one is a 400 megahertz. All right. It's nice to have a second one of those. In fact, actually, this one's heatsink is firmly attached and, well, it's got some hot glue on it for some reason, but All right. Well, I'll test that one too. But this one is why I bought the auction lot. This one is the 450 megahertz one that I was lamenting that I didn't have. So I hope this one works because I will have one speed demon of a Pentium II. The only way that I think you can get a faster Pentium II is if you manage to find one of the 333 megahertz ones and manage to overclock it. So, because rumor has it that Intel was going to release a 500 megahertz version of the Pentium II, but I guess decided they didn't want the competition with Pentium III. So rumor has it that they turned all the 500 megahertz ones into 333 megahertz ones. So, might actually give that a try sometime, because I think I do have a 333 megahertz one. So, that could be fun, trying to overclock that. Although this board, I don't know how overclocker friendly it is, but, well, probably won't know until I try. Although then again, I think the bus speed is a jumper on this board, so I'm pretty sure if I set a front side bus speed of 100 megahertz, then the processor is going to be using a front side bus speed of 100 megahertz. I don't think the processor has much in way of rejecting the front side bus, other than not working. Starbuck Tech, welcome. All right, let's see here. I do need to double check the jumper settings of this board. Let's see here. Well, let me go ahead and pull that up. There we go. Should be. Oh, there we go. Okay, got the jumper settings. Higher FSB, lower multiplier equals better performance. Yes. That's why I want to use one of the 100 megahertz ones if I can. So, in order to test these processors, I need a video card. And since the eBay seller that I bought a compatible video card from, one that'll actually work in Windows 98, that's a GeForce 6200, because the problem we had last week was video RAM related. Apparently Windows 98 has a maximum amount of video RAM that it supports. All right. Who would have thought that? I'm sure maybe at one point I knew, but... So instead, I'll just have to use this PCI card. I have attempted to improve the video capture quality by plugging this VGA cable straight into my capture card instead of going through my scaler, because my scaler hates the VGA text resolution for some reason. It does not want to auto set properly. So, Rudy, welcome. So, all I need for testing processors is a video card, processor, and I suppose I should probably plug the keyboard in, just in case. I only have 128 megs, or actually it's 256 megs of RAM installed. So, Francois, welcome. Yeah, same motherboard. I've learned things. So hopefully this will go smoother. So, but first, I'm testing a few new processors I bought, because instead of just buying one Pentium II processor for the going rate for the 450 megahertz seems to be about $20. I bought a lot of 3 for like, oh, what did I pay for it? Not much more. Because actually it was an auction and I waited and got it for the minimum bid, I believe. probably because their auction photos weren't the greatest. So it was kind of blurry reading the processor speeds, but I was pretty sure, fairly sure that I made out 450 on the one, and it looks like I did, which is why I went ahead and sprung for it. Yeah, 25. Oh yeah, 1350. So I got the lot of 3 for 1350 plus shipping. So I paid $25 for 3 instead of paying $25 for 1. So there we go. If it works, then I got a deal. Now I'm saving the 450 for last. I do want to know if the others work. So yes. All right, so I'm gonna test these in order of, actually, let's test the 400 megahertz first, because it matches what I had in this board already. So I don't have to change any jumper settings for that one. So I need some power. And luckily this is an ATX board, so I don't need to use an adapter. Yes, I know, 256 megs of RAM is the perfect amount for Windows 98. But I have a gigabyte, and this board supports it, and maybe I'll install Linux. Maybe I will torture myself with a period-correct version of Linux. And, but I won't be using a GeForce card if I do that. Probably. Because I don't think NVIDIA and Linux played well at the time, so maybe I won't be installing Linux. Well, maybe I may get some smaller SD RAMs because, yeah, 256 megs is about the perfect amount. I think it'll tolerate 512, but some apps won't. Some apps will freak out if you have that amount. All right, so I'm hoping my capture card will cooperate. And 450 megahertz processor. All right, nothing went kaboom. I mean, I wouldn't expect installing a processor things would go kaboom. And I need to see if I can't clear up the video. And then OBS is going to be all weird because I deactivated and activated the capture card. But at least the video will be clearer because it looked like a muddled mess on my screen. I'm sure YouTube's compression will do a number to it. It also seems like it's cutting off the last line, so let me see if I can't tweak the input settings real quick. I'm a stickler for good video. That might be the problem. Input, resolution, and refresh 640 by 480. Didn't think that was the resolution of VGA text mode. Well, it's mostly readable. We'll go with it. Yeah, it was a... This is the same motherboard I was using last week, Jeremy. What chipset is it? It'd be quicker for me to look at the manual than to try to read the chip. I can't read the chip. It is... Oh, it is a BX chipset. Beggars can't be choosers when they're trying to find a motherboard with the feature that they need for the sound card. However, I have found a few other motherboards on eBay that also support this feature, and they are probably less troublesome than the BX chipset. So, if you'd like to contribute to my coffee, it is available. Links in the description. And who knows? Maybe this motherboard here that it's on my bench might be bad enough that I just send it to Retro Techie. Hey, Retro Techie. Ah, he's here. Darn. I don't think he'll fall for that trick. He probably doesn't want it. All right. Yeah, Retro Techie. Justin, he's our man. If he can't do it, well, somebody else probably can. Well, either I'll do it or Joe will demonstrate his ability to remember a Windows 98 first edition OEM product key for the past 20 years, 22 years, 24 years. Who's keeping track? It doesn't matter. Longer than most people. Yeah. Since 1999. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yes. All right. Not only can Joe remember the product key, but he remembers when he learned the product key. Yes. That is our Joe. Yes. Yeah. Retro Techie. Yes. Also, if you'd like to help Joe support the museum at Joe's Computer Museum at jcm-1.com, he has cool blue scuzzies. He's got new cool gadgets in the shop. Oh, good. He's admitted that he's bought a new printer that will help his production scale even more. So I don't think his production scales to the point where he can build a whole new factory for all those blue scuzzies that he's making, but he did buy a new printer so he can print blue scuzzy brackets faster. So that'll be pretty cool. I'm sure Joe will probably do a video or live stream or something on it at some point. Or show it off during Dave's stream or something. I don't know. Yes, Joe can now print a 13-hour job in 3 hours. That's impressive. So yes, we do congratulate you for your new tool that will help your business grow. And we do like to support your business while you help us keep our old computers running. All right, well, this Pentium II 400 megahertz looks like it's running pretty decently. I don't have a hard drive hooked up. You know, maybe I should at least hook up a floppy drive so we can at least see it boot to DOS or something. That'd at least be a good test that it's actually working. Because unlike, I think last stream where I couldn't find my GoTech, I found the GoTech, I think last Friday I found it. In fact, actually, it's kind of embarrassing. So last stream I brought down a pair of speakers. Well, turns out my GoTech was actually in the box right beside the speakers, and I didn't even see it at the time because I was looking for it. Yeah, y'all are probably thinking, yep, that's par for the course. You're looking for it, therefore you didn't see it. You stopped looking for it, there it is. Also, I think I just found all of my Motorola FPUs on my workbench. Oh, I'm looking for the power adapter for the GoTech. Granted, I think last week I said I was going to yeet the cheap ones that I bought on eBay to the bottom of the ocean because of how bad they were. And it looks like I might have quite literally done just that because I sure don't know what I did with them. Hold please while I try to find an adapter. Otherwise, I'll plug in a. Yeah, I've got one power supply that has no Berg power connectors on it, and another power supply that I can't separate the ATX power, so I can't plug it into this motherboard. And of course, I've hidden the Berg adapters. Oh, they're... Unfortunately, they came in a bag that looks exactly like every other anti-static bag on my workbench. Unless I turn, because I've probably set them down upside down. Yes, this is called... Don't worry, that was nothing of consequence, I don't think. I think it was just a nearly empty box with something in it that I probably didn't want to spill, but probably just spilled it anyways. All right, all right, hold on. Oh, yeah, 3D printer parts. I didn't really want to knock that over, but I guess I did. All right. Oh. Well, that's interesting. Oh. Well, I just found a Nixie tube on the floor. All right, well, obviously I didn't want to knock that on the floor. All right. Okay, I don't like it when I hide stuff from myself. I know I've got those adapters around here somewhere. Oh, well. Oh, okay, I know what I can do. All right, I don't know where the adapters went. Let me just swap power supplies real quick. I didn't want to use... Oh. Okay. I can use this power supply. I was wanting one that had a physical power switch on it for reasons, but, well, I'll go without that. All right. Yes, whatever I'm looking for will be in the last place I look. Honestly, I probably knocked him off my workbench. I keep saying I'm going to clean my workbench. I keep not cleaning my workbench. Although I did just find the bag of piezo speakers for motherboards. All right. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to use a power supply that had a physical switch on it. This one doesn't have a physical switch on it. So, I'll use it anyways, because at least it has bird connectors. Because I need one for the GoTech. All right, problem solved. I mean, this motherboard's behaving, so I'm sure not having a hard power disconnect will be totally fine. All right. Okay. Oops. Oh, okay, I just verified that if you don't plug the Pentium II processor into the slot, after unplugging it so you can unplug the first power supply, the computer will not boot. All right, so let me catch up on chat while this computer hopefully boots into DOS, and we'll know the processor's working. So yeah, let's see here. All right, good night, Retro Techie. Let's see here. Okay, something's not happy with the video. Hold on. No, I don't want to. Okay. Apparently I've. Okay. What did I do to the video? Okay, so I've got power. Processor's plugged in. I think it's in all the way. GoTech's plugged into power. Video card is seated. Video cable's plugged in. This video card is doing what it was doing the other day. Huh. Okay. All right. Something's up with the computer. Okay, so did I unseat the video card by chance? Did I not seat the processor, putting it back in? All right, the contacts look fine. Let's see here. All right, try again. If this doesn't work, I'll put the original processor back in. There we go. I don't know what that was about. I must have not had something seated. There we go. Okay, it's booting DOS. Yeah, I guess if I really wanted to test it, I'd put the, I got a compact flash card with some basic software on it. I could have put that in it, but... Okay, well, this processor kinda... Well, it seems to be working. At least boots DOS. Oh, okay, I'll disable that, Joe, when I actually get to installing OSs. You have my permission to remind me in the chat if I forget. Okay, so I think this 400 megahertz processor is working. It also has the benefit that the heatsink is riveted on, so I hope the thermal compound's still good, because there's no way of getting the rivets off, but at least the heatsink's not sliding around. Oh, wait, you know, it might actually be screwed on with some weird security screw. Well, I'll check into that later. Oh, wait. Yeah, oh, Thomas Armstrong, I've seen the magic fire come out of a Pentium II before. Very cool. Well, yeah, I mean, I do see that there are some tantalum caps on the Pentium II, so it wouldn't surprise me. Okay, so now I've got the 233 megahertz from Compaq. It came out of a Compaq computer. So, for 233 megahertz, I do need to change these jumpers because it is, well, use a different front side bus speed. So let's see, switch one. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be on, off, on, off. Let's see here. On. Let me see if I've got a better item to switch that with. I would use a pin, but I doubt I could find a pin on my bench if I tried. So on, off, on, off. Okay, there we go. That should be 233 megahertz. Oh, I guess I'll disable the virus guard now that, because I just realized I do have a CMOS battery in here. So if I do change it, then it'll save it. I forgot that I put a CR2032 in it. The BIOS features, detect boot virus by trend, disabled. Oh, That's cool. The BIOS sees that this one has ECC cache. I can install a Pentium II 800 megahertz with a socket adapter into this board. Really? I didn't know that. I'm tempted to do that. Slockets, yes. Now there's a term I haven't heard in a while. Mainly because the industry went away from slots just as soon as they realized they needed more pins. Now, I believe this is the only Pentium processor I have that has ECC cache on it. So I'm actually tempted, though, to go look at the others that I have, because, whoa, don't know what I just unplugged, but something on my benches wasn't happy about me getting up. All right, well, that boots into DOS. Maybe. Okay, the 266 I have doesn't have ECC. Oh, the 300 I have does have ECC cache. And okay, the 350 I have doesn't. But okay. I think only the first generation Pentium IIs had ECC cache. All right, good night, Rudy. Glad you could join for a short bit. All right, so this one boots. Yay. Oh, oh, if the multiplier goes to 8. Okay, I do not believe the multiplier on this board goes to 8. I think this board only goes to, multiplier only goes to, actually, I thought the multiplier was on the processor. Oh, it's the bus frequency that's configured on the processor. Unless the motherboard can override it. I may not be able to overclock a 333 to 500 on this board. Okay, I think Francois is asking what a slocket is. So that was a device that let you put a socketed Pentium III processor into a slotted motherboard. It basically was a slot with a socket on it, and they called it a slocket. It was because in the middle of the Pentium III era, Intel changed from slots to sockets, but they were compatible. So yeah, converts a socket 370 to a slot 1. So yes. Yeah, this motherboard only goes to a 5x multiplier. So, and I don't have a 333 to even try overclocking it, so that's a moot point. I don't think I can override the front side bus on this motherboard, because this motherboard's not an overclocker friendly motherboard. I bought it because it was a decent overall motherboard. It wasn't spectacular, but it also wasn't awful. It's kind of like the middle of the road. So it doesn't really have any overclocking features that I can tell. Okay, so now that I tested the 233, it works. The 400 that I bought works. This is the processor I want to use, the 450. So let's see, its jumper is on, off for 4.5 multiplier. And oh, Jeremy, on the Pentium II, I believe it's the processor that configures the front side bus. So unless the motherboard can override it, some motherboards actually override it, but this one I don't think it can. Basically, some motherboards can ignore what the processor tells it and set the front side bus to the other speed anyways. Oh, well, maybe Intel put ECC cache on the newer ones by default, because it looks like the L2 ECC cache is enabled. Oh, well, Starbuck Tech, the only reason I was tempted to overclock the 333, and it would be the 333 megahertz, is because Intel was going to release a 500 megahertz Pentium II, but at some point decided not to. And or at least that's the rumor, and rumor has it that all of the Pentium IIs that were going to be 500 megahertz models, they got changed so that they only used a 66 megahertz frontside bus and ran at 333 megahertz. Because and my suspicion is that Intel didn't want to steal business away from the low-end Pentium 3s with the cheaper Pentium II that, for the most part, probably performed just as well. Because I think the Pentium 3, while it added more instructions, and it might have been a little more efficient, there was definitely did the low end of the market, I guess they didn't want Pentium 2 sales to steal away from Pentium 3 sales, because the Pentium 3 would have had a premium on it because it's the new processor. So the rumor has it they did that. And I was curious, though, if I had a Pentium 2 motherboard that let me override the frontside bus, could I take one of those 333 megahertz processors, override the frontside bus, and would it be stable? I mean, I don't really need to. 450 megahertz is fast enough for me. This processor looks good, so let me, I'm gonna actually put a compact flash card on here, and I'm gonna start with we'll take a look at some benchmarks, and then I'll get to putting the hard drive in, and we'll do some OS installs. All right. Oh yes, the Celeron CPUs. Yes, that's right. Intel did have the Celerons coming with the Pentium 3s. They would have also not wanted to steal business away from that. All right, this won't be the fastest boot because it's just a compact flash card, but well, it also won't be the fastest boot because it looks like I have the BIOS set wrong and it's booting from the floppy drive. Or, well, the Gotek. So it's actually going to be booting faster than it would otherwise, but... Of course, now DOS 6.2... No, I guess actually I can still run DOS Bench. I think it'll run. All right, so unlike when I ran these on the 486 DX266 megahertz on Dave's stream and had some horrible, awful benchmark scores. Actually, I can't even read the numbers. If you hold on just a second while I adjust the input settings on the capture card so I can actually read the number. Oh, wrong one. The vertical position. 265.7. That's, yeah. Oh, no, is that really? Well, Jeremy, it looks like there's a decimal point here. So I think there's a decimal point there. So I think it's 265.7. But you could be right. It might be 2,657. But yeah, it's like, I think the entire animation is animating in like 3 seconds. That's fly. Yeah. That was painful on my 486. That was like flying. All right, so let's try Chris's 3D benchmark. Oh, okay. I need to probably boot from the. Actually, let me do that. Let me boot from the compact flash card because I need himem.sys to load for some of these benchmarks to run. Okay, yeah, okay, YouTube's compression is hold on. It didn't register my press of delete to go into the BIOS. Actually, I have yet to figure out how you eject a disk on the flash floppy firmware. I thought there was a way to go into the eject menu and actually tell it to unload the disk image, but I can't get it to work. Okay. It should now boot from the compact flash card so that himem.sys, yeah, will actually load so that these benchmarks that need high memory will actually be able to run. Oh, and it's cutting off the bottom of the screen. Oh, that's convenient. There we go. All right. Okay, so Chris's 3D benchmark. I'm pretty sure that will actually run now. $301.7. It's the score. It's 181 frames per second. Wow, that was pretty fast. Well, we'll try that at 640 by 480. Yeah, you could go back to, I think it was Dave's stream where I ran these on the 486 and it was painful. It was, and especially when I put the jumper on the 486's turbo switch and realized after starting like the Doom benchmark that I had just deturboed it. All right, at 640 by 480, that was 50.5 frames per second. That's actually pretty good. Let's see, the PC player benchmark. I think that was a magazine back in the day. Maybe it was a British magazine. If you're wondering, DOSBench is Phil's Computer Labs benchmark suite. You can go to philcomputerlab.com or something like that and download it. Alley Cat, see this game run Alley Cat. I think this computer would run Alley Cat so fast that it would be unplayable. Ooh, player bench 104.4. That's actually that's pretty good, I think. All right, well, at 640 by 480. Looks impressive. Looks like my scaler is move the let's see. I don't know that I'm a well, I'll adjust it. It 20 I think it's I can't read it. It's like 27.9, I think. Oh. Okay. Let's try. Oh, here we go. Doom max details. Might as well just go for that because all right, that's pretty good. Hey, everything is broken garage. Welcome. All right, so that was 2134 game ticks and 912 real ticks, which means let me see if I can remember the calculation. I think it is game ticks divided by real ticks times 35. I think it was about 80 frames per second. Yeah, I know. That's the way the benchmark works, Jeremy. Oh, also it helps to hit the right keys on the right keyboard to exit. Might as well just run the QuakeTime demo in 640 by 480, because with a computer this fast, I don't think you'd want to play any lower resolution. "86 frames per second. Will it run Crisis?" Actually, this computer might be able to run Crisis. This computer might actually be able to run it. Let's see. I think Landmark System Speed Test is not going to run. Will it run Cyberpunk? Probably not. It's just a Pentium II. Top Bench might actually give something useful. 386. Okay. Top Bench, Speed Sys, check CPU, cache check. Okay, I think that's probably about all the benchmarks. Anyways, this is actually a pretty speedy system. So why not? Let's give it something a little more challenging than DOS-based benchmarks. Let's actually see if we can't get this sound card to sound card in DOS. All right. Because I think I know what I did wrong last week, and I'm hoping that I won't fall for the same tricks this week. And I'll actually be able to get Windows installed, and it won't be all crashy. If Joe tells me to delete an entire registry tree again, I'm probably not going to do it this time around. Because actually, that was one of the things we did wrong last week, because none of us realized that the whole problem was not the fact that the video drivers wanted to conflict no matter what we did. That was actually a side effect of the actual cause of the problem. Yeah, we deleted HKey local machine enum. Enter. The problem of the video card conflicting with basically all of the plug-and-play BIOS, no matter what we did, was actually a side effect of the actual cause, and that was Windows 98 doesn't support more than 256 megabytes of video RAM, no matter how much you try to be nice to it. I look for things that make me go, and Windows 98, apparently it looks for things to say no way, Jose, to the end user. So, oh, cool, GeForce 4MX 440 SE. Yeah, that'd be a nice upgrade. So I have, because I'm kind of determined to get a GeForce 6200 working in Windows 98, so I can prove that it was the VRAM. I ordered one, from a seller that had 2-day processing, so it kind of seemed like I should get it in time, and no. Nope. Of course not. The seller, like, finally shipped the card 6 days later, which finally shipped it yesterday, which was 6 days after I paid for it, despite the fact their auction description said typical 2-day processing, and they didn't reach out to me to, like, say, oh, I'm, like, out of town, I forgot the set that I'm out. I mean, I've had eBay sellers reach out to me and they're like, oh, you bought this, I'm actually out of town, sorry I didn't set that, I'll be delayed, is that okay with you? And I totally appreciate that. And usually if I'm not in a hurry, I'll say yes, and I'll take into consideration that they at least let me know as soon as they saw they made the sale. I mean, it's sometimes a couple hours later, because depending on where they are or why they're out, they might not be looking at their phone all the time. But hey, at least they took the initiative to tell me there's going to be a delay. And I don't penalize them on shipping time when they tell me. I may leave it blank when I do the rating, but I don't penalize them, because at least they had the courtesy of reaching out to me. The seller didn't reach out to me, so I have no idea why it took them 6 days. So, hey, Biggie John, welcome. So yeah, I know. So I wanted to be able to put the 256 megabyte GeForce 6200 in here and show, oh, it works now, but womp womp. Okay. Actually, I do want to install. Oh, I'm already running a version of DOS. Oh, okay. Well, I know how to fix this. C dir I think RM-RF DOS? Or is it Deltree? Ah. I always forget how to delete a directory in DOS. Um, is there a way to delete an entire directory under DOS? Or am I just going to have to do the... Oh, so it will? Oh, okay, cool. Let's Oh, I'm going to reinstall DOS. I'm just going to reinstall DOS, because I'm not going to trust the DOS that's on here. And yes, I did just delete the Windows directory for the horribly corrupted Windows install. I'm sure there's probably a few other files I should have probably cleaned up too, but well. Oh, rmdir. Yeah, I thought there was another command, but del worked. On older versions of DOS, I don't think delete will delete a directory, because I've had trouble getting that to work. I think 622, maybe they actually fixed that. Oh, well. Computer's already running a version of DOS. That is weird. All right. Uh, there we go. Sometimes you just have to know how to talk to the installer. I didn't want to format it, Eric, because I have some software copied to it that I didn't want to have to recopy to it. So I didn't format it. In reality, when I set this Pentium II up for real, I'm going to set it up on a solid state drive with a SATA to IDE adapter so that I'm not using spinning Rust. I'm not going to use a compact flash card because this computer actually, well, it'll do ATA 133, and I don't have any compact flash cards that I don't think I have any compact flash cards that would give satisfactory performance on this system. So I'm just going, plus I probably want a little bit more than a gigabyte will let me install. So I'm just going to get like a 120, actually I already bought it, 120 gigabyte solid state drive. And that's what I'm going to actually set this computer up on for real. So I have to admit the Mac Store hard drive that you see kind of probably haphazardly placed, so hopefully I don't bump anything on my desk. Well, it'll go into something else that can actually, that I don't, oh, it also helps when I hit enter in the right keyboard. Oh, well, good night, Francois. Or sleep. Oh, you are sleepy. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes. Oh, yeah, that would work too. The Denise. Oh, and the Amiga World, the Denise board. I may have to check that out. Yes, that Mac Store is on borrowed time. Therefore, I will probably use it in something where I'll use it for something where I actually want spinning Rust, where also I don't care if it dies. Oh. Yeah, I thought you said you were sleepy, Francois. Ah. So yes, good night. Yes, so I'll hold on to the Mac Store for a case where I actually want an ATA 133 compatible spinning Rust hard drive. But for this computer, for enjoying it and not having to worry about the hard drive just dying, I'll put a solid state drive on it. And in fact, the 128 gig solid state drives, you can get them in a decent brand for like $12 or so, which is actually cheaper than I can get a compact flash card in a decent brand. Oh, I bet you did have to replace a lot of those Mac Store drives in those Xboxes. So, yeah, this Mac Store came out of an iMac G4. So I know it is probably somewhat awful that I'm using it in a PC, but I will, for the record, that iMac G4 has a nice SSD drive in it now. I do have a video on my channel of installing that SSD into the iMac G4, and I can't really recommend the upgrade that I did because it just barely fit. In fact, I think I don't think I was able to get the screws back in it because of how barely it fit. But I guess where it is, I don't have to worry about it. Like, it's actually just barely fitting so well that I don't have to worry about the adapter board falling off the drive, but it's not screwed in because I couldn't screw it in because that's how badly the upgrade fit. So, yeah, I have to say the OWC iMac G4 SSD upgrade that was sold for that model, I wasn't impressed. I mean, it works. I got it in, but it wasn't quite the exact replacement that I had expected when I ordered it. But anyways, that iMac G4 has a solid state drive in it now, so I don't have to worry about the Mac Store failing, because boy, it is difficult to get to that hard drive in the iMac G4, because it's like you have to pretty much take it all apart, because it's up in the top half. You can separate the halves of the iMac G4, and the hard drive is in the top half with the display. So yeah, OWC normally makes good things. I've bought a lot of their upgrades that are like designed for the computer, and they fit decently well. Hey Jay, welcome. But in this case, for this iMac G4, the fit was a little less than ideal, and it wasn't quite. I was honestly expecting that it would have fit better, but it didn't. But I mean, I did get it back together. I'm not worried about the adapter, because it came with a SATA to IDE adapter board, and that was actually the part of it that made it not fit well. So it came with one of their generic SATA to IDE adapter boards, and not one made to fit the iMac G4. If they'd done that, then it probably would have been a really nice upgrade. Oh, the G4 toaster is the word. Yeah. Now that G4 Cube, that's some tight quarters upgrading. All right, so DOS is installed. It has rebooted from the DOS install, and I believe I got DOS, check it. I've still got Planet X3. Oh, I forgot to put something in this computer. Hold on. I just realized. I forgot to install the sound card, because I was about to jam the install CD in the DVD drive. And I realized that, well, there's the sound card right there. So last week I was just using some jumper wires to plug the sound card into the motherboard header. So after last week's stream, I did order a cable. So it's a 6-pin cable. This is, I believe, the type of cable that the sound card would have come with if it supported this feature, or if it was populated with the feature. Although it would have come with a keyed cable, but I'll just make sure I line up pin 1 to pin 1. I'm hoping this will fit, because there's a capacitor awfully close to this header. There we go. I did this just because I was afraid of crossing the wires with the jumper wires, but this will at least let me line up pin 1 to pin 1, and I know it's correct. Because actually, probably 10 years ago, or maybe it was a little less than that, I tried to build a Windows 98 gaming system, and it didn't go so well. But I, at the time, had actually bought one of these sound cards, and it came with a ribbon cable like that. So that's how I know that would have been the what cable it came with. Whoops, I just realized I need to look at the bracket to see which port is the line out, in, front. Because I'm hoping this will work, but I actually grabbed a cable so I could plug this card into an audio capture card, so that if I got sound to come out of it, you all would be able to hear it better. So, all right, this is the Pentium II 450 megahertz now. So I'm trying to correct the mistakes I made last week. Although at the moment, yeah, so last week I had tried to use this sound card in MS-DOS because I thought it might just work in MS-DOS with this cable connected. But near the end of the stream, I realized that I needed to run the DOS driver installer from this CD. Then I'd be able to use it from DOS. So I am going to... Okay, this, yep, it's a 450. Last week it was a 400, but I bought some processors on eBay. Also, my DVD-ROM drive is acting, it's acting up. Okay. Oh, I need to install... Maybe it's because I don't have any CD-ROM drivers installed. Maybe that's why it won't eject. Let me boot from a disk that's got... There we go. That's weird. Hey, 1-Bit Fever Dreams. Oh, I had a 233 in it, Jeremy. It's got the 450 now. Yeah, this the lot of CPUs I bought to get the 450, because I was able to buy a lot of 3 cheaper than I was able to buy the one 450. It came with a 233, a 400, and a 450. All right. Now that my CD-ROM drive has stopped being a jerk, and it actually ejected. So, what I did not know last week is that I believe it's on the CD, under the apps directory. No, not under apps. Under driver. There it is. And this is the YMF-744 card under the real DOS driver. Oh. And it helps if I type correctly. On this boot disk, R is the CD-ROM drive. I don't know why, Jeremy. It's a generic, boot disk with CD-ROM drive installers. Do I want to install the DSXG board? Yes. Installation files will be copied to DSXG. That looks good. Okay. Do I want to replace that file? Yes. I want to replace that file. I just want to reinstall the driver. Okay, C. CD, or... Let's see. DSXG. G. And then... Setup DS. And... Oh. Oh, that's right. You install the driver. And then you reboot the computer because reasons. And then I think it will run the setup program on the first reboot. I don't know why. It's weird. The setup process is completely weird. I think I remember having that trouble last time. Or maybe it's just not compatible with this version of DOS. Oh, interesting. Can't find Yamaha DSXG. Okay, let me double check the cable. I might have plugged it in. Maybe I plugged it in backwards. No? Nope, I'm pretty sure. Because if this cable's not plugged in, it won't see it. Oh, okay, that side's plugged in correctly. And this side is plugged in correctly. This may not work with this version of DOS. Yeah, plug and pray. That's exactly what this technology is actually called. Of course, maybe what I should do is... Okay, plug and play OS installed, no. Resources controlled by auto, actually manual. Reset configuration data, maybe I should enable that. Slot number 1, oh, slot number 1, 2, 3. Okay, slot number 4, use IRQ number 5. I believe I need to actually assign that specifically. Let's try that. Just realized, since I don't have a plug and play OS installed, it is possible I'm going to find out that this requires a plug and play OS to initialize the card. Which would make sense, but I just at least wanted to make sure that I didn't overlook this driver when I tried running the card in DOS and it just didn't work. Because I'm sure someone, if I hadn't tried this, would say, oh, well, it's because you didn't try that. Okay, can't find Yamaha DSXG. All right. Okay. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. It's probably because it requires a plug and play OS. All right. I had to try it. I guess I can always investigate this further, but I'm not going to belabor reinstalling Windows 98. So we can actually try some DOS games with this card. So yeah, PC load letter, yeah. All right. So let me go into BIOS again. Because I need to set the boot order. Interestingly enough about this BIOS, I don't know why it calls it SCSI and not IDE. I have no idea. Also, I did update the BIOS last week. I did it off stream. I did find the updated BIOS, and I'm running with the updated BIOS. However, that is not why this didn't work last week. Nope, not power management. Okay, for this, I want to set this back to auto. I don't think it'll matter because I'm about to go do this. Resources controlled by auto. Plug and play OS installed, yes. Reset configuration data, enable. Save and exit setup. Yeah, I don't know why it calls it SCSI, but this is an IDE board. There are no SCSI ports on it. If there were SCSI ports on it, I would have probably already at least tried the blue SCSI out of curiosity, but there's no SCSI on it. Whatever. They may have had a version of this board that had SCSI on it. Oh. Booting from a TAPI CD-ROM. Failure. Was that the wrong... That's weird. Oh, Jeremy, the sound card software updated the autoexec.bat file. Although maybe I do... Oh, wait a minute. Why am I trying to run this off the CD-ROM drive? That'd be silly. I forgot. I'm surprised Joe's not... oh, no, I know why Joe's not screaming it in the chat. Oh. Joe, I need the magic incantation to make setup go faster. Otherwise, I'm about to go back to the chat from last week. Thank you, Joe. /IE, if I can type, /IV, /IS, /NR, /no min. Although I could have probably technically excluded the last one because this system meets the minimum specifications. Wow, that looks bad on my screen. I'm sure YouTube's compression is not doing that any favors. Actually, I think I might be able to fix that slightly. I think that is actually 800 by 600. Oh, no. Sorry. That is 640 by 480. It's just not there we go. And my capture card's being dumb. Oh well. Well, hopefully it'll when it yeah, if you can see most of it, you're good. My capture card's being dumb. When it gets into Windows and I can actually verify the resolution that Windows is running at, I can fix the capture card. Accept the agreement. Next. Windows product key. This is the OEM installed, Joe, so I can't, or the second edition install, so I got to use my key. And quite literally, it is my install, so that is why I switched away from the capture input. Okay, this is an upgrade, so I do need to humor it with the upgrade compliance check. So therefore, I just put the Windows Oh, it really wants... Okay. This is, I don't think it done this before. Apparently it wants to check a couple of the disks, just to make sure I didn't have the first one, presumably. Is it really going to make me run through all of these disks? Probably. Or at least the first few. Yeah, this is a upgrade version of Windows 98 Second Edition that requires 3.1 or 95, which is why it's doing the compliance check. There we go. Select the directory where you want to install Windows. I don't know why it's making me... All right, whatever. Yeah, I know. Sometimes Windows setup can be weird. Oh, good night, Eric's Edge. I'm having fun installing Windows and trying to keep up with the chat. Should be enough disk space. After all, I did delete the old Windows directory. That's fine. I don't care what the computer name is. United States, start copying files. All right, so now we wait. This actually, I don't think this will take 27 minutes. So don't worry. Yes, installing the OS would take 30 minutes. But that would be because you probably didn't if you didn't copy the installer to the hard drive first. But I've got the install files on the hard drive, and I think its initial estimate is based on it thinks it's installing from a CD. Yeah, I'm keeping up with the chat, but are you keeping up with the Commodore? Oh, good. Commodore's not lurking behind me. Well, I'm trying to keep up with the Commodore. I have a Commodore goodie upstairs that I don't think I've shown on the channel yet. Just as soon as I get some PCBs from the Chinese supplier I picked, I will probably be building a board for the Commodore 64 to try to fix it. 7 minutes to do a fresh Windows 11 install, yes. That's pretty good. Yeah, and I know 1-Bit Fever Dreams, and my turning around suddenly was a reference to Action Retro's video. Yes, that was an awful ad song. I don't know how well their ad campaign did, but that was just a weird ad campaign. But I actually do have a Commodore 64 now. I just have the Commodore 64 and the power supply. I don't have any software or cartridges or floppy drives or whatnot for it. I have a Commodore 64 though. And I haven't actually powered it up yet. I haven't had a chance. But sing it. I don't feel like singing that song tonight. Yeah, Commodores are like tribbles here. They keep multiplying. Yeah. How much must we collectively super chat you to get you to sing it? $100? Because I have something I want that's about $100. And how's that for blatant honesty? In fact, it's actually something for the channel, so you'd actually be helping the channel. So there you go. If I get $100 of coffee tips tonight, I will sing the Commodore song, which will mean I'll have to like look it up to make sure I remember the lyrics. Red boxes as far as the eye can see. Yeah, what's the oh, More fun making it. Yes, it seems like he has Commodores all the time on his channel. And if not Commodores, Speckies. Everything is brokerized. Okay. Yeah, sad story about the overdrive. Well, I did order one. It was a Pentium overdrive. Title of the auction said it was the 486 83 megahertz Pentium overdrive. I didn't look at the last couple pictures really close. In fact, while this copies files, maybe I should just run upstairs and grab it so that I can give you all a cautionary tale about what it should look like and what it should not look like. Because this will take a few minutes, and we can all learn from my mistake of not looking at the last 3 pictures in the auction description close enough. I think my microphone will work while I walk upstairs. The seller did agree to a refund, so it was a no returns auction, but he's agreed to accept the return because he did make a mistake. So it's not all hope is lost on this, but it's just a delay. It just means that actually I was thinking about swapping topics for tonight's stream when the video card didn't ship in time. I'd actually was tempted to do a 486 stream, take a look at some upgrades for it, and give another week for the video card to show up. But then I got the overdrive processor yesterday and shot that idea. I was like, nope. The main reason I would do the upgrade video is not going to work because Justin made a mistake. All right. So if you're shopping on eBay and someone lists a 486 83 megahertz overdrive processor and the pin arrangement looks like that, stop. That is not the 486 Pentium overdrive 83 megahertz processor. Because Intel did not stagger the pins on their socket until the Pentium days. And if I'd looked at the last photos in the auction close enough, I would have realized that's not a 486 era, a overdrive for 486 computers. This is actually, I removed the fan to see what it actually was because I realized it wasn't the one I wanted. This one's actually a 200 megahertz MMX overdrive. So what I paid for it, I didn't get something that was worth more than what I paid for it. It's worth much, much less than I paid for it. Yeah, it's the 200 megahertz MMX Pentium overdrive for socket 5 systems. It would be the one you'd use to upgrade like the 120 megahertz computers, I think. So yeah, it's just a Pentium one. Now, what I should have been looking for, now this isn't a Pentium overdrive, but this is an upgrade processor. That is socket 3. That is actually what a 486 processor looks like. Notice how the pins are in a grid. So if I just looked at the photos a little more closely, I would have realized that that was a socket 5 overdrive that was incorrectly titled. Yeah, it's for non-MMX computers. I did look up comps to, and those go for about $70, and I paid more than $70 for it, so it's going back to the seller. They agreed to a return. Yeah, well, Jeremy, if I had actually received something that was at least worth what I paid for it, I might have considered keeping it. But that particular overdrive should go for about $70, I think, not 110. So it's going back to the seller. I want to get the actual 486 overdrive processor that I need. Now, if that had happened to be, say, the Intel overdrive processor for the Pentium 60 or 66 megahertz, which would be the 2-socket 4 Pentiums, then I would have probably kept it, because those overdrive processors are pretty rare and actually worth something, and I would have held on to it and just not said anything to the seller. Unfortunately, though, it's the socket 5 one, and those are pretty common. Maybe not in box, but at least for an open, they're common enough that, yeah, I'm not keeping it. I'm returning it to the seller. They did agree to their return, even though that was a no returns auction. I told them, hey, I told them, look, I made the mistake by not looking at the photos close enough, but you did call this the 486 83 megahertz overdrive processor, and it's actually the 200 megahertz MMX overdrive. And he replied back, oh, I'm selling computer stuff for my dad. I didn't realize that. Request the return and I'll accept it. So I'm like, okay. I think it was an honest mistake on the seller's part. I think I know the source of the cause is that I think that overdrive processor, I think there's a bunch of overdrive processors on eBay that have replacement fans on them. And so if you search for the part number on eBay that's on the fan, yeah, I know, an honest seller. Yeah, if you search for the part number that's on the fan on eBay, you will very quickly find the 486 83 megahertz Intel overdrive processor, because there's a bunch of them, or there were several of them listed that had replacement fans. Probably someone ordered a replacement fan from Intel, because as Ron was telling me earlier today, Ron pointed out that the 486 Intel overdrive processors, if they had their original fan, the part number was actually on the fan for the Intel overdrive upgrade. But there's a bunch on eBay that it looks like they replaced the fan, because I think on later overdrive upgrades, and while we wait for Windows to get ready, I think Intel moved where the part number was from the fan, because the part number that's on the fan, I think it's the part number for the fan, because there's a whole bunch of overdrives that actually have that fan. They moved the part number to, hold on, it's actually under the fan now on the later overdrives. And you have to get the fan off, and it's hard to get off. Anyways, the part number's printed on the heatsink under the fan on the Pentium overdrives. So, yeah, so I think the thing is, the seller was selling stuff for their dad. They looked up the part number that was on the fan. They didn't know that on the 486 ones, the part number was printed on the fan, or maybe someone told them it was printed on the fan, and they just went with that part number, and unfortunately that would have caused them to misidentify what they actually had, because there was a bunch of 486 upgrades that had replacement fans that had the same part number. So anyways, I'll return that. I'll get my money back. And I was actually trying to make an offer on an actual overdrive. Unfortunately, the seller, I'm going to check to see if they've by chance accepted my offer. I offered them about the same amount that I was offered, that I was able to, my offer expired. Oh, okay. So that seller didn't accept my offer. That was what I think it actually should go for. Oh, well. Well, normally I would, Joe, but I paid too much for it to do that. Okay, now, Jeremy, that is a rare Pentium MMX. The Socket 7, 266 megahertz. Yeah, there weren't many of those. I remember hearing of them. I don't think I've ever seen one. But yeah, that's a rare. That would be a rare Pentium for sure. All right, we're setting up Windows. We're about to get to the 7-minute stretch. I don't think the install went way faster. Of course, this install may go decently well because it's not going to be trying to set up drivers during the initial install with the video card that's impossibly huge for it. All right. Yeah, now stuck at 7 minutes for 10 minutes. Yeah, seriously. I think I even remember this in the day that it sat at 7 minutes for way too long. All right, 1-Bit Fever Dreams. We'll get to a game in due time. Got to get the Windows 98 set up so that I can get the sound card set up for DOS. And then I have, or should have, Chex Quest standing by on that hard drive. Yeah, you have Mackey's personality regarding games. Yeah. Microsoft's time guesstimation department has failed for most of its existence. Yeah. Actually, oh, who is it's Dave Plummer. He's YouTube channel Dave's Garage. I think he did a video on the Joe's right. It's like 765432110. Dave's Garage is his YouTube channel. I think he did a video on the time estimation in Windows, which was pretty interesting. I think he. Oh, you know Dave. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he seems like a cool guy. I enjoy watching his videos. Fellow Canadian, yes, yes. I think I remember him mentioning that in a video. Yeah, Dave Plummer, he worked for Microsoft in the early days. Don't remember which versions of Windows he worked on, but it was a number of them. He does probably have at least one video a week, touching on some of them are on like his history with Microsoft. He does some on like different technology things that's not related to Microsoft. Always cool videos. So definitely check it out. I mean, he's a larger channel, but he makes good videos. And actually, I'm even tempted to, I think I'd like to read the book he wrote. Because it seems like it might be an interesting book to read. If for anything, maybe I would get better understanding of His books, Secrets of the Secret. Yeah, I was right the first time. Secrets of the Autistic Millionaire, I believe, is his book's title, and he says it's not a financial book. It has to do with I guess living on the spectrum. And I kind of, oh yeah, maybe I should have typed something. So yeah. So anyways, yes, he wrote the book. I think it's about oh, there we go. There's Windows 98. That was fast. Anyways, I just think it would be an interesting read to broaden my horizons. So, oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, Jeremy, good to hear that that his that he's helped you take care of your mental health. Yes, yes. All right. Joe is reminding me the order to install things in. And once I install some drivers, then I'll probably be able to improve the video quality a little bit. I just have to remember where I copied them to on this hard drive. Check at DOS, my documents, temp. Oh, I must have put them in temp. No, not in temp. That's weird. Did I put them in my documents? Yeah. All right, chipset. Chipset. I believe that's the chipset drivers. Yes. Yes, I'm sure YouTube is doing an even better job of mangling the video than my OBS preview is. But once I get some drivers installed, I should be able to fix the video quality. So, all right. So Joe says you want to install chipset, then DirectX, then video, then sound, and network. I don't have a network card. Also, I suspect Windows installed the video drivers because they're built into Windows. So I'm just using an S-Video, or actually it's my number 9 GXE 64 Pro. It's a S3 Vision 964 based card. And I think the drivers are built into Windows 98. And I'm getting tired of the CD-ROM drive hanging up the boot process. So please hold while I change my boot order so that the CD-ROM drive does not hold up the boot process. CD-ROM, I want. There we go. Oh, I know. Here we go. Yeah, normally I create an install directory where I then put all the installers. But I think last week I was just trying to quickly copy them, so I just put them in my documents. This isn't the permanent install for this computer anyway, so I'm just going to ignore my bad decisions from last week where I put those installers and install them and move on. Oh. Fine. I'll create a user. Now we get to wait for Windows to detect all the wonderful chipset hardware. Oh boy. Yes, everything is broken garage. I have videos in the queue. I am really trying to get them out of the queue as fast as I can, but sometimes when you are the person that both works on things for the channel and has to make sure your house doesn't fall apart in the process, well, sometimes you have to do the things you don't want to do. Also, sometimes you fall for the wrong mouse. But yeah, which is partly why I've had trouble doing videos, is because I can't do videos as much as I want because sometimes you got to do housework. It's boring. It doesn't entertain people. But sometimes you just got to do housework. Oh, yeah. That is, but well, also I think I was kind of waiting for something to come in the mail, which I think it finally arrived. Maybe this weekend will be the weekend I get one of the videos, at least finish shooting the video for it. So anyways, okay, we got the chipset drivers. Let's get DirectX installed. Oh, wait a minute. I think I already have DirectX extracted on the hard drive. So let me save myself the trouble. Go look on the C drive. And there we go. Nope, that's not it. Oh, well, maybe I don't. Place the extracted files. All right. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the hunt for the computers is more fun than the repairs. Just ask me about the 386SX, and it's hunting it down versus repairing it challenge. Of course, another thing I wish companies did is made like maybe a few more sizes of shipping boxes. Jeremy, I have not forgotten about shipping. I'm still trying to find boxes that aren't so huge that I have to go through excessive amounts of packing material, but aren't so small that I can't put enough packing material. Oh, I think I just need to custom make a box for part of what I gotta send to you, because oh by golly, I cannot find one that's already made that's close enough. U-Haul, okay. I may check out U-Haul, see what they have. Actually, one bit, I suspect it's not just you. I suspect the Naboo have shot up in price, probably because the person that was selling them, I don't think has listed more. So you have the scalpers selling the ones they were able to get. Yeah, the current sellers on eBay, I do not believe are the original seller. Although I will, although it does look like at least two of the people who listed their Naboo are actually, they listed them as auction style. So I don't know, call me crazy, but I have a different opinion on if you list something auction style and the bidders drive the price up versus you do a buy it now and demand a insane price. Although I think in both cases it doesn't help the vintage collectors, but in the one hand, it's the people buying it that drives the price up. In the other case, it's the person selling it that drives the price up. I know both are not good. Oh, okay, I already have video drivers installed. I guess I could also... Okay, so it is running at 800 by 600. Let me see if I can get my capture card to cooperate a little better. I don't know. All right, let me see if I can't improve the capture slightly now that I know what the maintain. Okay, I think I see the problem. Now that I know what the refresh or what the resolution is. 640 by 480. Maintain. Horizontal position. Here we go. That's a little better. All right. I'm sure. Okay, that's actually pretty good. All right. Joe's saying 24-bit color now. Okay, so Joe's order was chipset, DirectX, video, but I can't install video. And then I think he said sound. Chipset, DirectX, video, sound. Yep, sound. Okay. All right. Let me install the sound drivers, and then we'll get to games. Oh. I don't want that. DirectX 9C. All right. Okay, I think I do. Okay, I need the CD for that. I'll learn one of these days, Joe. You just probably will have to drive it into my brain several thousand more times. After all, if it says anything, in high school, there were two of my classmates were very insistent on making sure I learned their names, and they would like quiz me every class to make sure I remembered their names. I think after about a month, I didn't get the two of them confused anymore. Hey, Bruce, welcome. Oh. Hold on, I just need to be patient. This is a Pentium II system with a CD-ROM drive in it. I have to wait for it to... Wait a minute, I don't think it's reading anything. So yes, Mags and Neely, if you're watching this, I remember your names to this day. Hey, Retro Tech Chris, welcome! Yeah, that was a weird driver install. I had to double click the what looked like just a simple menu. It required me to double click it to run it. Talk about a bad UX design. Oh yeah, I could have done that. I probably should have done that. But that wouldn't have installed the completely unnecessary software that came with the sound card that's now going to probably auto run and make me wish I hadn't run it. Although it will be an interesting test to see if oh, it didn't auto run. Interesting. I also see no sound devices installed. Also interesting. Let me run refresh. I don't see the sound card in the list. Yeah, my sound card does appear to be borked. I would agree. Interesting. I mean, I didn't put it in the same slot that I did last week, but... Okay, well, let's... No, that cable's probably not creating a short. It's supposed to be a... I mean, I had pin 1 going to pin 1. Although I unplugged it. Let's see if the card's detected without that. I mean... Let me first see if that cable is the problem. I got my fingers on F8. Because actually, the one thing is, I don't think I bothered to look to see if it was detected by the BIOS. Okay, it looks... I did see a multimedia device. It's PCI, Joe. I mean, right there it is. I saw it in... Oh, maybe there is something up with that cable. Sure enough. Is this cable? Well, maybe that's why DOS 6 didn't see the card. Arg. Cable. Well, that would also... Set up speakers. Yeah, this is the... I would be curious to know if it plays any sounds.
From left.
Well, that's... Sure enough, there it is now. Something's wrong with that cable. All right, well... I sure thought that was the right cable, but maybe that cable's... Well, I'll check the cable later. Obviously, there's something weird about the way the cable's wired. Okay, well, instead, since obviously that cable didn't work, I will instead use the same wires I was using last week, which I kind of didn't want to use because they're fiddly to install, but I know they work. All right. So green is pin 1, That's pin 1. I bet, I bet that cable's got a twist in it. I bet I could get that cable to work if I took a multimeter and figured out which way it was twisted, and I bet I could plug it in and get it to work. But it obviously was not built so that pin 1 lines up on both sides. Unlike the way I thought every flat ribbon cable ever was made. Oh. I guess at least it's good that I bought it on Amazon. I'll just return the cable because obviously I don't think it was wired right. Unless well, I mean, okay. I'll give the seller of the cable the benefit of the doubt until I look at the description again. Maybe I failed to look and see that it said it had a twist in it. Anyways, if the description on Amazon is unclear that it's straight through, I mean, it looks like it should be going straight through, but I bet yeah, I bet the pinout is incorrect. Because let me see. Let me find another flat ribbon cable. Anyways, if anyone's wondering, here's the cable. So there's the key on that side. There's the key on that side. I mean, it kind of looks like it was crimped correctly just looking at it at a glance, but let's see if I find a ribbon cable for I mean, it looks like it was made right. Of course, the other thing is maybe it's crimped, or maybe it's crimped crooked, and the key changes side. Oh, that cable was for the Sound Blaster link on the sound card, so that I could do this. The key changes side. Wait a minute. Didn't I tell it to shut down in MS-DOS mode? Oh. There we go. Well, that sure took its sweet time to restart into MS-DOS mode. Come on. Come on, computer. Oh, Joe, it was a feature that existed from about the Pentium II days to, I actually figured out that there were some Pentium 4 boards that had it. It allows the PCI sound card to use a DMA channel or an IRQ channel. Yeah. And this computer crashed booting into MS-DOS mode. That's nice. Fine, I'll mash F8 and just go to DOS mode. So I believe just installing the Windows drivers would have been enough to configure the Sound Blaster sound. so that I could play, for example, Planet X3 in a DOS window. Because it only uses the OPL sound. But Chex Quest, I believe, will need the SB link because it actually has wave sounds. So I think I need to actually do this. Cannot find the Yamaha DS XG. Interesting. Did I run the wrong installer? Maybe it didn't lock up. Maybe the cursor was off the screen. Okay. I'll check the audio exec bat file. I don't know. Something's weird. All right. Let me try rebooting it in MS-DOS mode again. There we go. Okay, that's weird. I must have maybe I installed the wrong drivers. All right, let's delete that. Let's go to D drive. Oh. E drive. Oh, I don't have. Okay, I gotta get the DOS drivers. Yeah, no sound in Windows now. Oh, you're right, Joe. Sorry about that. Yeah, you're right. So I plugged that cable in. Okay. Thanks for mentioning that. Okay, let me shut it down. Let me go over to my shelf. Let me grab a particular box that. Then let me admit that I actually have two of those cards and maybe I got them mixed up. Let me try the other card, because I had this working last week. I moved the extra card over to my shelf, maybe last week. Maybe throw it in another slot for funds. Okay. Because this isn't the slot I had it in last week. This is the slot I had it in last week. Well, Thomas, this board looks clean. Knock on wood. I mean, maybe it needs recapped. I'm sure these caps aren't the greatest. All right, Joe says try another slot for funsies. We'll try another slot for funsies. Maybe I've got a bad PCI slot. Yeah, let me try the other card. I moved like a bunch of stuff off my workbench, all these add-in cards, just because I wanted to like get them off my workbench. And I thought I put the one I'd been using in a place where I would know where it was, and put the one I hadn't tested in the box. But maybe it's entirely possible that I got the two mixed up, and the one I was using is the one I put in the box. And this card that I was trying to use is the one I didn't test. I will admit, maybe I should have put a little green check mark or something on the one that I used last week, but I didn't. It's also possible I miswired it. The whole reason why I wanted to get a ribbon cable was so that I could not get the wires mixed up while plugging it in. Okay, so this is the other card. Because I had two of these cards. Because quite honest, I bought two because I didn't know if I'd ruin one of them trying the mod. Granted, my soldering skills were worse when I bought the card than now. Yep, Thomas, I know caps die. The ones on this board look fine. Now, I'll recap it at some point. They don't seem to be leaking. I just wouldn't have expected that. There we go. It detected that card. I mean, yeah, I totally agree that the caps on this motherboard could be going bad. But in this case, it looks like I might have mixed up the two sound cards because I think you just got a Windows startup chime now. I think in this case, it's a Justin got the two of the cards mixed up, and this card has something wrong with the mod. So I bet if I put my ribbon cable back on, it'd probably work. It is quite possible, because I had to solder on two pull-up or pull-down resistors. I don't know which they are, but I had to solder two resistors on this board. It is quite possible that if I go back and check this board, those two resistors are possibly not in place. So when I plugged the motherboard in, the sound card probably was not happy at all with the signals it was receiving. I don't know. That's a theory. Oh. Because I nuked the installer. Oh, there we go. It sees the card now. Okay, well. Okay. I know maybe I didn't copy him to this computer. That was loud? Okay, well, sorry about that, Joe. There's no better way to make sure your audience is awake than to I'll turn the volume down on the input more. I suspect that, yeah, sorry about that. Sound check. Okay, I thought I had Chex Quest on that hard drive. I do not. Therefore, for reasons, I will plug in the compact flash card on the other IDE channel. And hopefully Windows doesn't do, like, install a bunch of secret hidden files that'll annoy me when I use it in DOS, but it probably will, and I'll get over it. I turned the volume down on the input. I suspect that's not a line level output and I can't control it. THX, the audience is listening. Stream HX, the audience is deaf because you didn't realize how loud it was. Okay, at least I haven't borked the sound card again yet. Yeah, I'd better make a mark on this card before I get them mixed up again. Somewhere I've got actually, there we go. There we go. So I made a mark on the card. That'll remind me, assuming I don't, like, ignore the mark, that I think that card is suspect. Okay. Let me copy these files here. X copy. X copy. Source. Star. Destination C. I want to copy everything. All right, good night. Everything is Broken Garage. We'll see you next time. Hopefully I can get this game to work. All right. Without further ado, it is time for Chex Quest. And I have no... Oh, please tell me that I have... Does this game have no sound? Oh, that's... I thought this game had sound for sure. Well, maybe, Does anyone hear anything? Because the thing is, I can't, uh... All right, that... Chex. Oh, let me try setup. Use music sound card. Oh, that's probably it. Sound. Sound Blaster. Wait. Let me try Sound Blaster 220. Sound effects card. Sound Blaster 220. 5.1. Sure, 3. Save parameters. That was probably it. I take it there's no sound. That I can't see anything on the. Yeah, hold on. Okay, Legacy Audio Enable 220, DMA 1, 338, 330, 201, Int A, DMA mode PC PCI. Oh, direct DMA. No, actually, I did want PC PCI. Oh, Int 11. Okay. Nope. Here we go. Sound Blaster 220. Sound effects. Sound Blaster 220. Please wait while Int A is the PCI designation for, so that PCI card is on Int A. Yeah, so basically, I just had to override plug and play. I think the problem is the card's interrupt was assigned to IRQ11, and the game is too old to know about IRQs above 8. Because I don't know what version of the Quake. I think it's running on the Quake engine. There we go. Int A IRQ is 5. So there we go. Exit. Save and exit setup. CD checks. Let me check it setup. Okay. Music card, Sound Blaster, 220. Sound effects card, Sound Blaster, 225, 1. We'll start with 3. Select controller type is should be, I just want keyboard. What are the keyboard? Up, down, left, right. Space is used. Fire is control. Okay, that's fine. Ugh. Well, that's not happy. All right, good night, Dave. All right, let's try this. IRQ lesson 8 was PCXT. Yes, Chris. Yeah, old computers can be dumb. DOS is painful. I haven't gotten it to work yet in DOS. Once I do, I'm not changing it. I don't know why this is working worse than it was last week. But at least the card has IRQ 5 now. Device manager. Okay, everything looks happy there. Sound card. Yeah, okay. Shut down. Restart in MS-DOS mode. Yeah, maybe that's what I should have done. But I know that'll work. Is there any sound at all? I mean, did I turn down the sound too far? No. I know running it in Windows is legit, but running it in Windows does not really prove the... Okay, here's the problem. I'm trying to get the SB link to work. That's not needed in Windows. I don't think if you run a game in Windows and a DOS window in Windows, if it uses the DMA, I don't know that Windows isn't going to just have a complete fit because your game directly called hardware. That's why I'm trying to run it in DOS. It's because I want to see that feature work. I mean, maybe... The startup sound didn't play, but yet I believe, don't you hear some music? A 10-second delay? That's weird. So is my sound delayed too? So I'm going to say the word now when I hit the fire button in the game. Now. There's no music. It's really quiet. Oh. Okay, well, that's my fault. I turned the sound down because I didn't want to, like, blow out the eardrums of the audience. Is that better? Huge delay on the music, but not on my face. That is probably OBS working at its finest. Well, maybe I'll have to check out my setup for later. Well, I guess the game's working. Quite honestly, I have to, if I was giving this SB Link feature a score, well, I'm kind of disappointed. I have to admit, everyone in the chat that suggests, well, why don't you just put an ISA sound card in the computer? Quite honestly, in this computer, yeah. That'd be just way easier. But I did find a motherboard on eBay. I don't know that I want to buy it though, because it would be stupid to buy it just for this one reason. I did find a motherboard on eBay that has no ISA slots and supports SB-Link. So in that case, you would have to use SB-Link in order to have sound in DOS. Also, I'm having... But yeah, otherwise, SB-Link seems... Yeah, I'm with you, Jeremy. SB-Link seems dumb if you have a computer with ISA slots. The only thing I can think of on this motherboard is if you had two other ISA cards that you had to have over sound card, or if you just had to have the fact that this sound card is actually it's a surround sound card, so it can do front and rear speakers. But quite honestly, yeah. Oh, good night, everything is broken garage. Quite honestly, this feature is dumb. But quite honestly, maybe if I do put this system together as a permanent system, since it has ISA slots, and since I don't really need to install like some ISA card for proprietary software or something like that, and I have it to spare for a sound card, I think I'll just get an ISA sound card. I can get one that supports Windows sound system, like maybe like a nice ESS audio sound card, and still have decent sound in Windows. Maybe I can get one of the ISA sound cards with the Yamaha chips, because Yamaha made some ISA chipsets for sound cards, so it'd do a bit more than Sound Blaster. Helps if I use the right key. There we go. But yeah, I think my conclusion is that this feature is dumb. I think I see why it didn't last long. I think I can see why there's motherboards from this era that just didn't have it. It's like, if you had ISA slots, it wasn't necessary. And if you had, and quite honestly, it doesn't work that great. Hard to configure it. Seems like your plug-and-play BIOS has to install the sound card and configure it with the correct IRQ for the slot. Otherwise, your DOS game's not going to see it. So, I don't know. Anyways, I think the feature is overrated. So yeah, I think if I was giving it a Doug score like I was trying last week, it's getting a daily driver Doug score of like -5, and the weekend score of -220, because it's just a useless feature. Now, I will say this sound card probably didn't work because I didn't do something's wrong with the mod on it. So we'll have to excuse this card. I have two cards. I got them mixed up. This is probably the one I didn't test last week. So we'll have to excuse that. Which means probably if I'd configured the thing in MS-DOS, if I'd realized that card was the wrong one while I had DOS 622 installed, I bet I could have gotten it to work in DOS with the plug-and-play BIOS set to legacy and manually configuring the correct IRQ for the slot. I bet that would have worked. But yeah. Yeah, Retrotech Chris is, yeah, this is a PCI sound card with some quirks and features. Yeah, lots of quirks. Jeremy is asking, perhaps look for a Sound Blaster Lav card. Well, quite honestly, I might give it a try, because I'm pretty sure it'll work with, it'll give me MS-DOS sound in a DOS window and Windows. You have, Jeremy, you got plenty of the Intel Pro 100 network cards on hand? Yeah, I probably could put one in this system. I don't plan on connecting it to the internet, but that'd be pretty handy for connecting it to my NAS. So anyways, I think I've pretty much figured out this SB Link feature is, I don't know. It's like the worst of the plug and play features. It requires your card to be set up correctly with plug and play so that your DOS game could see it. Now, it's possible, I will also say, it's possible Chex Quest crashed in DOS mode under Windows 98 because I didn't have the autoexec bat file set up correctly. Maybe not. I thought it should still run. It's also possible that something was configured wrong, but I don't know. It may not run under. It may have always been intended to run in a DOS window, anyways. So, but yeah, this SB Link is useless. Quite honestly, I'd almost be tempted to, if I was going to set up a permanent Pentium II system, I'd maybe almost be tempted to find a better motherboard that gave me other features other than this SB Link connector, which I'm not going to use. So yeah, that's pretty much my conclusion. SB Link is overrated. If I did a video on it, that'd probably be my conclusion, that it doesn't really, if your computer has ISA slots, then you'd probably be better off to use an ISA sound card if you really wanted to play DOS games that needed DMA to play wave sound effects. Because then the card would just be configured and you'd be good to go. Or use a sound card that'll run in a DOS, let you run these games in a DOS window in Windows 98. Which works because the sound cards had the DOS, the driver for MS-DOS compatibility, and they just work in the DOS window. Yeah, this SB Link is just not impressing me. It's difficult to configure. And yeah, and I think RetroTech Chris is probably on point there. If you want an exercise in frustration, and quite possibly could be the one sound card harder to configure than this one for SB Link, it would be the Windows Sound System card, yes. Too old a game for the, yeah. Actually, interestingly enough, Chex Quest is actually, I don't think the problem is that it's too old. At least not the Chex Quest game. Because Chex Quest, if I look it up, I believe came out in the late 90s. So or maybe it was the mid 90s. October 31st, 1996. So it should have at least known about the AT IRQs. However, it is a game that is running on the Doom engine. According to Wikipedia, it's the ultimate Doom version of the engine. And it's possible that maybe that engine just didn't think anyone would ever dare to put a sound card on an upper IRQ. It is also possible that I was running into trouble because the thing is, my choices were Sound Blaster or AWE32. There was no Sound Blaster 16 choice. So it is possible that I might have been partly to blame there because I picked the wrong sound card in DOS, but still, I don't think the documentation says which sound card to pick. $48. Oh, Jeremy, yeah, if only I hadn't bought the CT 4870 instead of the 4780. Oh well. Maybe I do need to absolutely not at that price, but yes, maybe I do need to get that version of the card. I think I bought this one off eBay and it was like $13 or something like that. Granted, I think this version of the card, it's the 4870. There's like a bazillion of them out there still. So, yeah, I'll keep an eye out for the 4780 at an actual reasonable price, which I would think would be closer to the... Oh, there we go. Here we go. I think I found one on eBay. Yep, 4780. It doesn't have the connector for the front panel audio. Oh yeah, there we go. I'll probably check it out later. It's actually the same seller I bought this card from, and it's actually, interestingly enough, a little cheaper than this card was. I'll probably snag it because it's actually a pretty good deal, and the seller seems to be fairly reputable. So yeah, don't pay $133 for a Sound Blaster Live card. You should be able to get it for under $20. Retrotech Chris, you have the SB0060 Sound Blaster Live. Ooh, is that the OG one? I don't remember which one that is. Oh, let me see. I'm looking it up. Actually, I'm not sure that's the OG one. Interestingly enough, that's weird. Okay. The order of the matches I'm getting are not what I would expect, whatever. For some reason, my search engine really, really wanted to show me Utah State Bill 60 from 2 years ago. Whatever. I don't know. I don't get search engines sometimes. Granted, I mean, the first hit was something related to the sound card, but then it quickly went to Utah State Bills. I'm like, that's weird. Actually, I'm looking at the card. I don't know if that's the original one, but there are like so many different versions of the card that it's hard to keep track of which one is which. You know, maybe that is the original one. I don't know. Don't think you get it to work in DOS. Oh yeah, I think Jeremy's probably right there. Yeah, the SB0 and then a number cards are the OEM cards. Yeah. Don't think you could get it to work in DOS. Yeah, that one actually might be too new for DOS. Just looking at it. Yeah, Thomas says Sound Blaster 16 at Plug and Play. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. All right. Yep. Oh, okay. I'll check out that version of the card too, Jeremy. It's still a bit more than I want to pay, unless that actually gives me DOS compatibility. I may have to. I'll look up. I'll look up what versions are DOS compatible and whatnot, and I'll get a. I probably will go for a Sound Blaster Lab when I build this computer. I think I want to put a Pentium II together, And maybe I will just keep this motherboard. I don't need to overclock. I mean, it's a decent enough motherboard. It supports everything I need it to. It probably needs a recap. I'm not going to rush on the recap because next week, hopefully, I will get what I need to explore. I brought them downstairs, but I have some funsy things here for the 486. You need to remember to grab a heatsink. But hopefully I will have everything I need, or at least everything I want to have, and next Thursday we'll take a look at some upgrades for 486 systems, and we'll see if I can remember. I will try to do a little bit of historical research so I can get an idea of what they would have cost back in the day. And we can actually take a look and see, would they have been worth it? So, okay, you've got one in your Pentium II system. So, let me see here. Jeremy, which one's which? So, yep, I'll take a look at both those cards. So, yep, I'll take a look at those, Jeremy and Chris. I'll try to figure out which one's which. So I'll probably have to open your links one by one because I have a bunch of browser tabs to eBay open, and I'll sort them out. But anyways, yeah, hopefully I'll have what I need. I want to take a look at some of these upgrades for 486 systems. Maybe figure out what performance they would have boosted to, and try to figure out, would they have been worth your hard-earned dollars back in the day? Because I probably didn't pay what they would have cost back in the day, because this one here, I think it was $49, which seemed to be a pretty good deal for this. I'm not going to say what it is, but about $49. This one here, I stumbled upon, and it was like under $40. So I wasn't even looking for this one, and I just happened upon it, and there's something special about it that I said, all right, I'm going to splurge. I'll get that one. And maybe, just maybe, I'll wheel and deal my way into a Pentium Overdrive 83 megahertz that's actually a Pentium Overdrive 83 megahertz for 486 systems, so that I can see if that would have been the upgrade, or if maybe you'd have just been better off to sell your 486 and buy a Pentium. But that's kind of an idea. So, and then maybe I'll find some DOS game that I can explore on the system. Possibly not Chex Quest, because I think it might be too demanding for a 486. So I'll have to find another game that is worthy of playing to see, would these upgrades have given you the performance you needed for whatever game I pick. Probably won't be Crisis, because the 486 is just running MS-DOS 622. I don't really want to install Windows 95 on it, but we'll see what I come up with. So that's my idea for next week. If I get everything I need, then we're going to explore the 486 upgrades next week. Thursday, I think that's going to be the January 20th, and the stream will start at around 8 p.m. I'll probably go ahead and schedule that because I already have a thumbnail ready. So probably go ahead and schedule that tomorrow or whenever I get a chance. So take a look out for that scheduled stream. We'll have some 486 fun. And hopefully this weekend I will have some time to work on videos. So even, because I'd like to get those out. But anyways, it is getting close to 12:30 a.m. and I do have to work in the morning. So Yep, Jeremy, Pentium 4 for late 90s games, so I'll be looking for something, see, for the 486, for these upgrades, probably mid-90s, probably about the time period. So that kind of puts Chex Quest a little too late, because I think Chex Quest is, I don't know exactly what the system requirements are, but I'll have to look at the README file. But yeah, so I'll find something that's probably mid-90s, something that'll run on 486, but we'll see how these upgrades would make your game a fun experience. Or not, maybe. Maybe you'd rather have a Pentium. But anyways, yes. So with that, I think it is time to call the stream to an end. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me and sticking around and bearing with me as I had technical difficulties. And have a great rest of your day. And yeah, everything ran fine on this PC. So yeah, everything ran fine on this PC. It was the getting the sound to work that was the worst. But yeah, so have a great rest of the day. I hope to see you next time, and take care. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.